Here we go now. Here we go now. Here we go now.
Koala needs a little mini football here.
I know, the koala needs to be in its natural habitat, holding onto a tree. That is us right here, Lisa Ann and Howard Bettor, ready to take you for the next 2 hours on Lisa Ann Does Fantasy Bettor. We're going to catch you up on everything that you need to know. There's more injuries landing. There's excitement to be had. There's fantasy talk conversation. There is just so much, Howard. And of course, I get to listen to you and Jim, and it's refreshing when Jim comes back from the World Series. It's like we miss him.
Just like we miss you because we weren't here last week and you were.
You got time off?
I got the night off. They gave me the night off. Well, I mean, come on. You can't do Lisa Ann Does Fantasy Bettor without Lisa Ann. That just doesn't, it just doesn't work. It doesn't work without you, Lisa Ann. And that's just the way it goes.
Brian could kind of maybe make it happen. He says he's so clever. Brian could be the replacement. But look, you can always enjoy a little bit of downtime. Football season for you, Howard Bender. I don't know anybody that works harder. You are constantly working on the fantasy alarm, constantly updating the DFS playbook. Every day there's new news, some good, some bad. And here we go. So I'm happy. What did you do? Did you watch a TV show? Did you go to the movies? What did you do?
You know what? I just kind of chilled out. I got off the fantasy alarm show. I just kind of relaxed a little bit. Cooked some dinner. Actually, I never usually cook on a Wednesday, and so there it was. I was manning the grill and taking care of that. But obviously, sorely missed. How was Australia?
Australia was amazing. I've been multiple times. This was a very unique situation because it was in between some things that couldn't be rearranged. So I actually traveled for 60 hours, 30 each way. And I was only there for 72, actually less than 72. I landed at 9:00 in the morning on Friday. I had a couple of hours to hit the gym, which is what I always do to beat jet lag. Hit the gym, get a massage, go right to the show. I worked all night Friday, all day and night Saturday, day and night Sunday. And then Sunday night, there was an after party. And immediately following, I went back and went to the airport.
Damn, that is an absolute whirlwind to travel that far, to be there for 3 days. You are by far and away the most dedicated person I know. I mean,
I survived my longest flight without internet, 22 hours, Howard. I didn't know what I was going to do. I will say they had amazing box sets and streaming services. They had the whole box set to Seinfeld, whole box set to Curb. I ended up committing to watching the first 2 seasons of Succession on the way and the last 2 seasons of Succession on the way back, even though I've seen the show. I love the show. And but I passed the time. I made it work,
There you go. I would love to see what those streaming options are. There's a bunch of stuff that I'd love to just kind of settle into. So,
and what about you? I know that you have finally decided that you've given up on the Jets. And by the way, even the conversation of how well Aaron Rodgers is doing is so interesting because now other athletes with a similar injury are reaching out to him. What can I do to expedite the process? How hard are you working on this? Is it even worth him? I think it's great that he wants to just be right again, but is it worth bringing him back out there if they're not going anywhere?
He's not coming back. I'm telling you flat out, he's not coming back this year. I wish nothing but the best for Aaron Rodgers, and I would very much love for him to be better so that we can get that season out of Rodgers that we were trying to, do. Listen, we've got this defense and it's absolutely phenomenal, but it's not gonna last forever with free agency and and salary cap issues. Then all of a sudden, you're going to end up starting to lose these guys. So your window of opportunity to win with a guy like Rodgers with this team anyway is very, very limited. But I'm telling you flat out, there is no intention of Aaron Rodgers coming back this year because what needs to happen for Aaron Rodgers to come back this year, it's because the Jets are in the playoff race and the Jets are in the hunt. Now, their defense is strong, yes, but their offense is so pathetic and so horrible, and all the 3 and outs, the defense never has time to rest and recover.
Yep.
So, you see what happens. Like, the defense is holding the Chargers as best they can on Monday Night Football. But, I mean, they're exhausted by the end of it, and it doesn't happen. But Rodgers keeps saying that he's talking about his progress, and he's talking about this because he's giving the Jets themselves hope, and he's giving Jets fans some hope on this season. But what it really only comes down to is that he's doing all of this. He's stringing us along so that Nathaniel Hackett doesn't get fired. He is trying to salvage the job of a friend of his by holding the Jets hostage like this. Because if you fire Nathaniel Hackett, there's no chance that Aaron Rodgers is coming back. None whatsoever. If you don't fire Nathaniel Hackett and the Jets maybe are in the playoff hunt, well, then maybe Aaron Rodgers does come back. And it's not happening because we have to win a number of games moving forward. Because Rodgers, by the time he comes back, what is that? I mean, forget it for your fantasy teams, right? Week 14.
Oh, it's not about our fantasy teams. It's about him proving medicine wrong.
Oh, I don't
This
give
is
a crap
about
him.
him.
I don't give a crap about him proving medicine wrong. It doesn't matter. What I care about is the fact that my team is never going to get any better because we're now tethered to Nathaniel Hackett, and Aaron Rodgers is holding us hostage because of that. Like, we should be able to move on, get a different offensive coordinator in there, give me some other bum of a quarterback. I don't give a crap who it is, but you're not going to do it with Nathaniel Hackett there because he's a lousy offensive coordinator he's garbage. He's garbage as a coordinator, and he's only good when Aaron Rodgers is around. And everybody knows it.
I will make you a bet. And I know that you love Peeps, and we know that Peeps are universal. I don't know if you know this, Howard, but they come out for every holiday. There's Christmas Peeps now.
Yeah.
There's Halloween Peeps. They kind of oversaturated the Peep market, but what I like about it is because I assume that by each holiday they're fresher. Because if you're making them in trees, you're not keeping them from last year. You're only going to make so many. It's like a limited time offer Peep. Now, I don't eat sugar. I do believe that Aaron Rodgers is coming back December 26th. That is the date that I believe.
Oh,
so
that's my birthday. I want this crap on my birthday. Thanks a lot.
If I lose, I will eat 10 Peeps. And if you lose, you eat 10 Peeps. I know you can handle more Peeps than me, but this is someone who doesn't eat sugar. So it's going to be Peep-a-palooza is not something I can handle. I don't have that kind of courage. That's you, Howard Bender.
I mean, I'm off the refined sugar. I haven't had candy in I don't know how long. So
how are you feeling?
You know what? I feel really freaking good. I'm not going to lie. Like, this is one thing that, and you and I, we saw each other in New York and we saw each other at the expo.
Mm-hmm.
Just for the sake of whatever, I'm just going to pop my headphones off. I'm going to say, because you saw me in this shirt, Lisa Ann, at the expo. And I'm just going to stand up here for a second and show you how loose this shirt is on me right now.
That is incredible.
I can't hear you because my headphones aren't in
Oh,
yet.
that's right. I'm so sorry.
Oh, it's
that
okay.
is incredible. And I'm so excited.
Now your audio just clicked off.
Okay. There we go. There
you are.
All right. So I think that's the shirt you were wearing in the video that I posted on IG where I'm asking you what you're doing on Wednesdays. And I just posted that on my page. And no, it's similar, but you know what? You just feel more energy, right? Because your body isn't working as hard to do normal things. Our body frame is only supposed to handle so much. And when you start eating cleaner, you don't have the highs and the lows. Sugar gives you that high, then you get that crash. You feel more balanced all the time.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. I'm digging on it. It's definitely fun. And with that, then, I want to show off this new bot. I want to show it off to the wife also. So my new goal here, 100%, this is it. This is my campaign to get onto Wheel of Fortune as a contestant so I can win money to go on a tropical vacation, and I can go with my wife and feel like, good about it. Like, one of the reasons I don't need to go to a tropical place is because I don't need to go anywhere where I have to take my shirt off. I feel a little bit better about that. So now the goal here, Lisa Ann, is I am going to be a contestant on Wheel of Fortune. So if you are watching this and you do work for Wheel of Fortune, or you contestants or anything like that, hook a brother up.
Well, do you know how to do that? You can put your name in for the lottery, and they have spots that they email out. You have to, of course, be in LA, but you would make the trip there to do this. I love that you want to be on the Wheel of Fortune. That was one of my favorite game shows as a kid.
Yeah, I'm
It was
totally
when I
in on
learned
it.
about emissions, because we didn't have that in Pennsylvania, right? And I remember all these things were different because of California and like the taxes and all the things. And so we would have to do the math after the show and figure out what something actually did cost in Pennsylvania versus California. Because we would always be a bit under because things weren't as expensive.
Well, now here I am. I'm kicking ass in puzzles on a nightly basis. And I figure, this is like, like a little reward to myself. I want to be able to do that, because I also need new clothes, because all these clothes are like hanging off of me now,
Yep.
Lisa. And I need some like new shirts and new pants and stuff like that. And that shit
some-
costs money.
Some new digs. By the way, Geek Mill in the room says, hot take, peeps are gross.
Ah, what a lame hot take. That's such a lukewarm take.
So let me
It's so
ask
damn
you.
hot.
It's so damn hot. Geek Bill, you've never made s'mores with peeps, because there's absolutely, have you, Howard?
Of course.
Yeah, the way
Have I? Look at me.
the sugar just gets to the flame and just like melt wraps them. Oh, so good. Jeff, Scrimp Daddy in the room, Albert, Better Boss, every here, wanted to say hello. So you talked a little bit about feeling very optimistic about this NFL DFS slate. And I know that everybody can go to the All Pro and win like a pro. Fantasy Alarm All Pro gives you access to all sports, all picks, and all stats. All experts one-on-one in Discord. So go All Pro and let Fantasy Alarm's award-winning experts help you climb up the leaderboard. Promo code Let's Go. Go to fantasyalarm.com/let's go. And boy, I did not do well, but my phone's still on. You heard that little text. Oops. Bonus 50% off your first month. Again, fantasyalarm.com/let's go. So tell me, why are you so optimistic about this week's DFS slate for the LADF Challenge, which is out on DraftKings and will be dropping on my timeline? Oh, just did 3 minutes ago.
Why do I feel so optimistic about it? Because, all right, so here's the thing. And, if you read the introduction to the watch list, then you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Now, for some reason, the category has changed on this. So you're going to have to look for the playbook, and that'll lead you to the watch list. I'll just say that. Use the playbook link in the menus there. I'll have to go yell at somebody at some point here. Nevertheless, here's the thing. I consider myself a very good cash game player. All right. I can build high floor, zero fat lineups that, win in 50-50s. And that's how you make your money, right? That's to me, that's how you make your money. You grind it out and you just keep doubling it and keep doubling it and keep doubling it. But everybody wants the big GPP payout. Everybody wants the big, I want the $15,000 payout. I want a $50,000 payout. Those are easier to hit, like those big numbers there, if you're playing in higher stake contests. But if you're playing in lower stake contests, how much are you putting in each week? And what kind of contests are you entering? And so with that, what we're trying to do, and I'm talking to like Dan Malin and John Impemba, James Grande, the guys who, are consistently, they're hitting the cash lines in their GPP tournaments. And sometimes they get, really good, and Malin will win like a, $5,000. And there will be another time where he wins 800. But either way, unless you're playing in like a crazy double up where, you're like doing like a $500 double up, you're not going to make that kind of money in cash games. So my focus this week has been helping people with their roster construction for GPP tournaments, right? And then picking the right contest there. Like, you want to be in a contest that's, 5,000 people or less that have those big prizes. You go try the Millie Maker or the $3 play action. Like these You might as well go to the corner store and get a lottery ticket and just buy a scratcher and hope for the best there. Because it's like it's even if you're max entering 150 lineups, you're still going up against 200,000 other people, and so it's a dart throw. But if you deal with contest selection, and let's say you play $50 in GPPs the entire time, right? And you're putting in 10 lineups into the play action at $3, and then another $20 into the Millie Maker, and you're trying that out. Instead of doing that, go into like a $15 contest that's like a 3 max entry, right? Where there are 2,000 people in there or 3,000 people in there, and work it from there. The first prize might be, $5,000 and it's not $50,000, but wouldn't you hit a couple of those, like a couple of 5,000s, or somewhere in between that, and steadily build your bankroll up that way? Yes, of course you would. So contest selection and roster construction are what we're talking about, throughout the week and throughout the shows and stuff like that. And I'm making that a focus of the watch list. And so I'm building this watch list and, showing you like which players, which stacks, which games to, really look at and invest in. And then we'll make the final playbook, which comes out on Saturday. And then the example lineups will be out. But at least we're identifying certain things, certain patterns that we're seeing. Like when we score the playbook after a week, and we look, the optimal lineup that comes out of the playbook would win the Millie Maker. Absolutely. So what are we seeing about these lineups? And all of a sudden I'm starting to see that on DraftKings, you use a tight end in your flex to save some money, spend up elsewhere. That's actually something that's been working, and it's been hitting. National Tight End Day, if you had Mark Andrews and Travis Kelce in your lineup, that crushed. This past week, it was like Trey McBride and I don't even remember who the other tight end was that like really popped. But I mean, it's like, you look at it like in that fashion there. And so you start looking for the patterns that develop and how you bring it to the table. So that's kind of our focus. Sorry for rambling on for as
I like
long
it.
as I
I
was.
like it. And it reminds me of a question that I got asked a couple months ago. A guy said, okay, there's 3 options. You can win $100,000 if you make the half point shot from the half point line. Okay. You can make $50,000 from the key, or you can make $1,000 for a free throw. And I answered with, I will do the free throw for $1,000 because I shoot free throws often.
Right.
Pretty much 3 to 5 days a week. That's where I practice from. But most people would automatically say, oh, I'm going to go for the 100,000. And you're going to look foolish, just like every other dude does that walks out at MSG. And it's like, I can make a half court shot. No, you can't. Most NBA players can't, unless you're Steph Curry. So contest selection is really important. And I think whenever I see something pop up on an app where I'm going to be playing some games, the first thing that pops up, I look at is that's a sucker play. Get away from that. Right away, it's a sucker. If you give what they're feeding you, then you're already losing because they already know you can't win it, or they wouldn't be feeding it to you.
Yeah, 100%.
Does make a big, big, big difference.
I say it all the time, right? I mean, when the public's going one way, I'm running in the other direction, 100%.
I'd also like to say, I'd like to apologize to your wife, her fandom, Giants fans out there, because, I really feel that the Dallas Cowboys could have been a bit kinder. There's a time to step off the gas. Let your scrubs go in and run around. Is there really a reason to lay the smack down to that degree? Are we just trying to pad our stats against bad teams so at the end of the year, we look at Brandon Cooks and he still has 1,000 yards?
Well, first and foremost, Brandon Cooks ain't getting that 1,000 yards. Brandon Cooks needs 82 receiving yards per game in order to hit 1,000 yards on the season.
That's some solid math right there.
Do you know how I know this?
Jim Bowden.
No, because I believe it or not, this was my doing. I was so super in on Brandon Cooks going to the Cowboys this year. I was very much in on it. I have several shares of him. And throughout the preseason, I was like, you want Brandon Cooks? Dude's 1,000 yards. Like, if he's 1,000 yards and 6 touchdowns for the price that you have to pay, you might as well draft him. Like, he's going to be, a baller in this lineup. And then it's been miserable. And I said to people who were like freaking out, I guess it was like week 2 or week 3, and I was like, if Brandon Cooks doesn't reach 1,000 yards, I will eat this tiny little Nerf football. Now,
Oh yeah, that's right.
you might think that like, oh, well, it's, just this tiny little Nerf football. It's no big deal, but this is like solid foam, and I have to like figure out a
I
way
don't think that's a good
to like
idea.
eat this.
Yum,
I
yum,
don't
yum,
think it's
yum,
a good
yum.
idea. Have you looked up yet the results of people eating something like that?
No.
I mean, it could get lodged. What if it gets lodged inside your intestine? You have to have some sort of football removal surgery.
Well, so here's the thing. So I didn't say exactly how I had to eat this.
Okay.
So my producer over at SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio, Shan Blunt,
I
is
love her.
exploring a variety of recipes for me where I can do things like maybe I just make a pasta dish and I grate this and this little football and I eat it that way. Perhaps that's the way I do it.
So here's what I've got so far. A Nerf bullet would be one of those small Nerf balls. The bullet would pass down your esophagus. As they traveled, your body would digest the bullet. It would reach your stomach where it would stay for a while. They eventually go into the small intestine where they would sit for about 5 hours. How does the internet have this detailed of information? How many people do they use this survey? This is like 1 out of every 10 dentists recommend tried it. Who did they ask? How many people came forward and said, I'd really like to be part of a study of people who eat Nerf balls. Would you like me to give you a journal entry? I'm going to eat one. Is there any money on the line? This is data. And of course, it's on the internet. Has to be real.
Well, that's kind of where I'm going. Well, I mean, because I'm not gonna, you can't even, like I'm not gonna like chunk it up. I feel like if I use a cheese grater, right, and I just kind of like sprinkle it through there, then nothing's gonna get like lodged inside me. It's gonna go in there, and it's gonna. Now, could it clog something? Could a clog develop if there's like too much in at once? It's possible.
I would like you to know that they are made non-toxic, though. So I guess they do prepare for children to eat them, or dogs. That's probably why they made them non-toxic, was for pets. Well, this is really interesting. I am thrilled that we've reached this point of understanding. You're not feeling great about Brandon Cooks saving you from eating a football for this season. It was a strange bet. You couldn't have gone with a football-shaped peep.
No. Well, I'm off the peeps again. Come on.
I know.
Listen, what this is going to do? It's going to open up the door to a very, very wonderful love letter next week to Brandon Cooks, depending on what he does this week in this game.
And that's something we should really talk about, because I know Jim is feeling fresh and excited about the Dallas Cowboys, but we know what happens with the Cowboys playing up to and down to their opponent this week, taking on Carolina. This could be one of those games where everybody is so sure the Cowboys are going to go in there and be haymakers, and that's not necessarily the case. Like I have very little trust.
Yeah, I hear you on that. Do you feel like this is that trap game? Like this is the one where you just, I mean, I can't. It's very, very difficult for me to think that Carolina even comes close to winning this game, but could they cover the spread at least?
That's something that we're going to have to get to later in the show. But in other news, we've got some injuries that we'll touch on in a bit. And Howard, there's 2 things I need to bring up. One of them I forgot to put in our notes.
What's that? I
land from my flight, and these scammers are so intense, and they monitor my every move. So I'm up in the air with no internet for 22 hours. What do I land to? I land to a brand new account that has a link tree that has a store on Shopify that's illegally stealing photos from my stuff and saying they're selling it. Part of me was like, do I place an order and see if I get anything? Then there's one on Poshmark. That I spent 36 hours straight since I've been home. I mean, I took a nap the other night for 3 hours, but I am so determined when somebody thinks they're going to run a hustle on me or try and scam my community. I am so determined. And what's sad is that you can fill out all of the reports on a website, support, you put the links in. Each report takes about 10 minutes. And each time you fill out one of these, immediately you get pinged back with an email. Well, that falls under this category. You got to fill out this report. Then it falls under this category. So I go through the gamut on 10 different sites that are illegally running stores. And I'll tell you why I'm the most mad, because this person is selling shoes that are hideous. I mean, the most disgusting shoes, and has the ugliest feet and calves and toes, and they're trying to say they're mine. So, like, look, I have a real problem with that. Okay. No one's ever seen me in flats that aren't sneakers. If it's not a sneaker, it's a heel. I don't, and they're dirty and they're disgusting. So I go through all of it. You know what works the fastest? When you publicly shame them on Twitter and pin it to your profile one at a time. I don't want to take that approach. I try the first 24 hours of just being mindful citizen, spending an hour filling out every single thing and getting hit back with an automatic ping back. And then you know what? You pin it on your timeline and you have 2 million followers. And guess what? They slide up in your DM and take that down right away.
Oh, see, like, so why don't you skip the first 24 hours of the being nice? I mean,
Because I want to go through proper protocols, because I do feel like each report goes into some. Okay, I'd like to believe.
there it is. There it is. I would like to believe.
I'd like to believe that these reports go into some sort of file where they know this is a repeat offense, but I would just like to believe that I'm not just filling out arbitrary things that are just spinning in the back somewhere, like an old school movie tape just flipping. And it's just like a roll of those towels that come down and keep going around. You wonder, where's the clean one start? Where's the dirty one end? I would like to believe.
I mean, I love the fact that you're so optimistic that even exists. Like, that the clean towel is actually there. It's not. It's never there.
Okay, then let me ask you this. This is a random off the beaten path. Scott, thanks for coming in the room. Jeff, you're all going to hear this. You know when you go to the airport and they have the toilet seat cover that has the button that spins around? Or is that only in the ladies' rooms? I'm not sure. Do you guys
only
have
in the
that?
ladies' room.
Okay, so it's a piece of plastic that covers the seat, but it keeps spinning around. And I don't believe that there's a lot. I don't trust it. I would rather have, the gasket, the ass gasket, the thing you put down on the toilet seat. I'd rather the paper. But at JFK, they have them. And I stick my finger on it for the longest time to see if I can see like one demarcation that I already saw. And meanwhile, I'm wasting plastic if it actually is. But where does it go? Is this like a clown car where behind the wall of the toilet, there's like 25 yards of this stuff? Because it never runs out. You can hold a button for days.
It's right behind the wall. There's like a roll of saran wrap that it's just like, it's like gyro meat at like the,
where they keep spinning it around it, but at least you see that stuff coming off. Jeff says it is in the men's room too, and he doesn't trust it at all. I
don't trust men's rooms, public men's rooms at all. I won't. It has to be an emergency for me to even use a public toilet like that. Like, it's urinal only for me, no matter what. I'll hold it in for days if I
we don't have that opportunity to urinal it. So I will tell you this. These trade shows that I do, I will go all 3 days and never use the restroom there. I just limit my water intake. I just work it out. And as soon as I get back, I go. I just will not. I'm the same as you. Airport, it has to be at a private lounge. But yeah, so I wanted to really bring up this imposter thing. Whoever this person is, whether you're looming in here, you find this fun. Well, guess what? So do I. And I got all you shut down within 36 hours. Not ideal. Not what I want to land to. People are so shady. Like, get a job. It's not that difficult. That's just a thing. And we are all ready to gobble, gobble, gobble. So Howard, will you be having turkey on Thanksgiving?
I think so.
Okay, because I don't always have turkey. I cook for my friends and they often want homemade Italian food. So that I'm in the kitchen from like 7 in till that. But yes, so that's last year. We haven't had turkey in like 5 years. And I miss the turkey, but it's their choice.
I mean, it's usually because it's me and my wife. Like, we don't, like, family is back east, and we've been to some friends' places since we've moved out here in California and stuff like that. But again, I mean, maybe I'm just an antisocial pain in the ass that I just to like go to somebody else's house and to like eat like half of what I probably normally want to eat.
And you don't get leftovers if you go to somebody else's house. You don't have leftovers.
Yeah, that's again, there you go. So no,
As God is my witness, I thought turkeys could fly.
That was the best WKRP in Cincinnati.
that is
What, you have a hat? Oh my gosh, where did you find that? The internet?
somebody sent it to me.
WKRP in Cincinnati.
Baby, if you've ever wondered
Whatever became of me. I'm living on the air in Cincinnati. Cincinnati WKRP.
So
I love it.
it was one of my favorite shows growing up.
Yeah.
Always like Dr. Johnny. I don't know. Maybe that's how I landed in radio, like or how I knew I was supposed to be in radio, because it was it was crazy. So my dad actually went to college with Gary Sandy, who played Andy Travis on the show. My dad went to like Wilmington College for like a year with Gary Sandy. I was always a huge Howard Hessman guy. Him and Venus Flytrap on the show were just absolutely amazing. And yes, of course, right? Lonnie Anderson and whatever the lady's name was that played Bailey. Obviously, when you're a young boy growing up, they are quite exceptional to look at. But that Thanksgiving Day episode,
The best.
is I post
Legendary.
that link every single year. I post it on Twitter. I post it on my Facebook page, because that is without a doubt, bar none, it is the funniest holiday episode of any sitcom
I agree.
all time.
Now, Better Boss just called it. My absolute favorite character on that show was Les Nessman.
Oh,
Like, I love the invisible door and how accurate he was with it every time that he would open it and close it in the exact same space. And he went on to this, like, amazing. Jan Smithers, Kevin says right here, that was that now. But we're going to get to a quick break. We get back, chit chat is over. We've got injuries to talk about. We got a quarterback that's been looming to be great. We couldn't figure him out. He's in and out. And guess what? Now he is out for the season. We're going to talk about how it's going to impact your fantasy team, not just if you have him, but the other playmakers on that team. We'll get to that. We'll talk a little higher, lower. We're going to get into everything. And for all of you, if you have wait, we got a question here. I told you at the beginning of the season that I would win the Billy Maker, but does second place count? Also, humble brag. First place wins in NBA. 2 first place wins in NBA. No, Mamba, because you said you were going to win it, and second place doesn't count.
yeah.
You're listening to Lisa Ann and Howard Bender right here on Lisa Ann Does Fantasy Bettor, streaming live for you on the Bettor Network as well as Fantasy Alarm.
I think CeeDee Lamb's the guy that goes through and just torches this Giants team the way him and Dak are on together here. I don't know if Pollard is someone that I'm looking to play, though. I you know, if he scores, that's great. But if he is not the one scoring, if it's the CeeDee Lamb show again, the cover of my quarterback coach this week is Baker Mayfield. Mike Evans is 72. Big fan of plugging Mike Evans into my lineup this week.
I feel like Trey McBride at 3,500 is probably where I'm going to lean.
Yeah.
Guess who gets a matchup with Christian Watson? It's Joey Porter Jr. And according to PFF.com, the matchup out of 100 is rated at a 7.2. Yeah, no thanks. We're not doing that this week. I'm still fading Jacoby Myers this week. And you know why? It's because they're playing the New York Jets. Another guy that I'm looking to fade this week is Zach Moss versus the New England Patriots. The matchup with Amon-Ra St. Brown against Yasir Taylor, it's so juicy. We have got to start Jared Goff this week. This is a smash spot for Javonte Williams.
And we are back right here, Lisa Ann and Howard Bender, brought to you by Bettor Network and Fantasy Alarm. I would like to say thank you, Bettor Boss, for noticing the fact that Scrimp Daddy could no longer take that Bears commercial. It was grinding him, it was upsetting, and the suffering is over. Jeff, we hear you. We are here for you, and we are listening. And Bettor Boss, thank you for saving my friend, because for some reason that was a very triggering commercial. What else is triggering? The fact that Sean Watson is out for the rest of the season. He's going to undergo shoulder surgery. It's so, it's a bone situation. As I was reading about it today, this has been something lingering. He's never really been right. But then when he came out, he looked so good for a couple of games. Things were really working out. Is this what you think the result is of just kind of not being in football shape by not playing for those 2 years?
Yeah, I guess it kind of has to. I mean, I've had some issues with Watson just because, early starts, you wondered if he was really into it. Like, was he, because I know that, obviously traveling around when you're on the road, the fans are relentless and they'll say anything and everything that comes to their mind. And, Watson doesn't have like a really great track record for being a good person. Whether you believe the stuff or not in the media, I mean, that's just, what's going on. So I was kind of worried about that. But
wait a minute, you don't think booking massages on Instagram because the girls are good looking is bad? I mean, we can finally joke about this, right? It's off of what happened, but at the same time, it's how he went about it. There's no way to prove innocence when you weren't going to Massage Envy, which you probably know in California, they're a franchise, they're massage places. I don't book a massage therapist by going to the Chippendales site and be like, you know what? I think I'll take the guy number 3.
I'm gonna go to
Score with the chaps.
I'm gonna go to Scores and have like the shoulder rub, right?
By the way, that grosses me out. I watch it every Thursday night at the club, and I'm like, you guys are just so disgusting that you want a girl to touch you that's already massaged everybody else. But anyway,
I dated that girl actually.
She made good money.
She made great money.
Stupid money.
Ridiculous. It was insane. She was, very cool person. Like, she and I like totally clicked. And it wasn't even like, I didn't even meet her there. Like, she told me what she did. And I was like, oh, okay. I'm surprised I never saw you before. How long you been there? I'm kidding. But like, so like, yeah, I mean, I went there once while she was working just to like, kind of hang out and sit at the bar or whatever, because we were dating for a little while. And, a lot of her friends are people who work at the club. That's what happens when you work in the, in the industry.
Entertainment. Sure. You're on the same schedule. See, yep.
And so I was like, I met some of her friends and whatever. We were just kind of hanging out and whatnot. But yeah, it's pretty funny. Like, that is not where I am booking my my normal massages. No.
Absolutely not. What we know from Mary Kay Cabot is DTR.
Dude.
Dorian Thompson Robinson is getting the start. How do you feel this affects our Amari Cooper? How do you feel this affects the offense other than the run game for Cleveland?
Very upset by it. I mean, listen, here, I'm going to try to be optimistic about it because, the funny thing is odds to make the playoffs for the Browns still at 6-3 is like minus 190 on DK. So obviously there's still optimism that they can eke out a couple of games here and maybe, still make the playoffs. I'm going to try and keep an open mind. I mean, obviously the initial thought is Amari Cooper, garbage. David Njoku, garbage. But I'm not ready to just completely, I'm not going to cut these guys loose. If I can include somebody in a trade, then maybe that's what I'll do. But, there's a reason that Kevin Stefanski's going with Dorian Thompson Robinson. Okay. Looked very overmatched when he was playing early on in the season, but we saw PJ Walker also kind of stink it up as well. I'm wondering if, we're like, well, we know what PJ Walker is. We've seen, Thompson Robinson at UCLA in Chip Kelly's offense. So we know there's some mobility there. We know that he can be fun and entertaining in a run and shoot type of game.
Right.
And so maybe that's kind of what they're thinking as far as, because Cleveland's defense is absolutely amazing. And
Amazing.
maybe
Yep.
did something to show the coaches that he's learning and he's improving, right? So that if the opportunity does come up again, he's taking it a lot more seriously, having been in a game situation. So they probably turned around. They were like, listen, he's definitely taken a step forward. Let's see if there's a ceiling, because we already know it's a low ceiling for PJ Walker. Maybe Thompson Robinson's is a little bit higher.
There could also be the potential that they're trying to put these guys out there to see what their value is going to be, because most likely Deshaun Watson will not be back for the beginning of the season next season. This could be, mid-season he's able to come back. I mean, this is kind of a sweet spot, right? Having this injury and this surgery this early, he does have a good solid 6-7 months to really start to get back into the rhythm up. But could you think about them bringing in maybe a veteran backup quarterback, so they're not looking at these two rookies, and maybe putting him out there to see, like, what do we have in him? Does he have any value? Who's got more value on the trade block? Well, we need to kind of have that Band-Aid to cover Deshaun Watson. If he even comes back in time and isn't 100%, maybe they put him on what we like to call a pitch count. So it's all very interesting, but what a frustrating year for the Browns. Waiting for him to really get right and get into the rhythm of the season. He finally does, and now he's out for the season.
Yeah, it's kind of a shame. It's kind of a shame. Poor Cleveland. The Browns, they're gonna Brown. We see it all the time.
I see your questions in here. We'll get to them in a couple of minutes. We're going to go through a couple more of these things. Justin Fields is going to take his thumb out there and he's going to play. That's what NFL Network's Ian Rappaport says. How do you feel about Fields and the thumb?
I mean, listen, if he's healthy enough to get out there and play, then put him in there. I mean, it'll help DJ Moore's value, Cole Kmet's value. They've got this like three-headed monster in the backfield now, because Deonta Foreman certainly showed enough that even with Khalil Herbert back, Foreman's probably going to end up with like a share of the workload, as will Roschon Johnson. So, you've got all of this element there. So, yeah, I mean, listen, if I want to give a shot there for Justin Fields, and I'll tell you what, this game against Detroit, this is a crucial game, especially for the Lions. The Lions really need to win this one here just to kind of assert their dominance a little bit more. It's like a cat peeing somewhere to mark its territory. The Lions need to pee on the Chicago Bears in order to do that, and Justin Fields isn't going to take that. He's like, get that? He's got like the spray bottle. The cat's like about to pee on the carpet. He's like, psh, 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 psh.
It's like when you're going over to a guy's house and you're not sure if he's legit loyal or if he's seeing other people, and you spray by leaving bobby pins and hair ties in all kinds of unusual places. Did you know that girls do this?
I did not know that girls do that.
Oh, yeah, we all do it. You'll never know that scrunchie is in your cushion of your couch, but it will be there. See, Burns knew it. This is a real deal. This is stuff we do.
Burns is a player. Like, I'm not a player. I'm a serial monogamist, But I mean, listen, Lisa, and I'll say this, and I wasn't going to do this, but now I'm going to do this, because like Burns is a player because Burns is a good-looking dude, and Burns has been a good-looking dude his entire life. Like, just take a look at this picture of Brian Burns at such a tender young age. This was sent to me actually by his mom.
So cute. That's
right. So there you go. So apparently,
oh my gosh.
Apparently this is the winning photo. This is what a child who wins a pageant is all about.
Oh my gosh. He was in the Monarchy. He was getting ready. Boy, a couple years.
That was the other one.
Wait, go
that
back.
That was the other one.
Go back.
That was the other one. That's Brian Burns. That's the glam shot.
Amazing. Oh, thank you to Mama Burns. This is like hot. I'll tell you, Brian, you were a cute kid. You were a very cute kid. But when you say monogamous and all of this, well, your Jets are not monogamous because ESPN's Adam Schefter reports the Jets have waived running back Michael Carter.
Thank God.
You were waiting for that to happen.
He got picked up. I think he got picked up by Arizona, who probably like woke up and was like, this Amari DiMercado guy kind of sucks at football. So let's see if we can find some other weak ass pass catching running back. And so, Michael Carter just wasn't gelling with the Jets. There wasn't a lot of optimism for him. It's Breece Hall's backfield. We know that anyway. There's no reason to kind of mix it up at all. So free Michael Carter and let him go find another team, which he has. So, he can sit behind James Conner.
The Steelers have opened the 21-day practice window for tight end Pat Freiermuth with the hamstring. That doesn't really help fantasy managers, but it will help us if he comes back and he's playing well in DFS, because those first couple weeks back, his price will be very low.
Oh, super low, super low. I would like, listen, I think that they lose a serious element there to the passing game, not having Freiermuth in there.
Yeah.
Connor Hayward, I think, is the guy who's been in there right now. Nothing special about him at all. So, maybe it helps Kenny Pickett. Just open up the practice window. I don't know necessarily if he's going to play this week. He'll probably sit out this week. That Cleveland game against Pittsburgh this week, the over-under on that game is 33.
That's just disgusting. You know what that says? I don't want to watch this game. Like, we're going to watch it anyway, of course, because we're fantasy team managers. But it's that's just not great.
Like good at like an old leather helmet, like 9-6 game.
They are two good defenses, and Steelers defense was highly sought after in best ball and in early drafts. And, slow start to the season, but then really picked it up after the bye week. So I get that. I get where that will be low. Let's talk a little Profit Exchange. How you feeling about Profit Exchange, Howard Bender? Profit Exchange is the first U.S. sports betting exchange with the best odds compared to any sports book. Profit Exchange is sports betting with a twist. Bet against other people and not the house with better odds. If you are a New Jersey bettor, the best odds are available at Profit Exchange. That's very specific. So make sure you move to New Jersey immediately. Register for Profit Exchange and receive a no sweat first bet for up to $100. Use the promo code BSN. Must be located in the state of New Jersey and at least 21 years old. Terms and conditions apply. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Let's talk about these lines. And we're looking at Dallas at Carolina. Minus 10.5 for Dallas. You think Carolina could potentially cover the spread here?
I don't really know. Dallas fans, I need opinions from them. So I've already got.
I have no faith in my team. I'm not Jim Bowden.
So
anything can happen.
Oh, see, Bowden thinks that they're just going to roll over Carolina.
I don't. Now, I'm surprised we paid 2 good games in a row. But if you notice the beginning of the season, it's like, oh, we look so great. Then the next week, it's like, where'd everybody go? We look so bad. So it's up and down, up and down. I never bet my team, and I never expect them to win. And then when they do, it's very exciting.
When they do, it is very exciting.
I have more optimism filing reports on random websites to have scams taken down than I do in my Dallas Cowboys. All right, let's just go back to that.
So then Carolina plus 10.5 at plus 102 over on Profit Exchange is much, much more beneficial than the minus 110, right? So I think that, if you do believe that that Carolina can cover this spread, then, I think because there's more fight in Carolina than there is in the Giants. And I don't know, who does Dallas play the week after? That's Thanksgiving, right? It's Washington against Dallas and Thanksgiving.
Yes, it is. And you know what? That's a great game because Washington has a little bit of the two teams I think they know the best are the Philadelphia Eagles and the Dallas Cowboys. They always make the Eagles struggle, even though the Eagles do pull out the win. We're not the same. We're not built like the Eagles. We can't have a huge deficit and then come back. We lose our luster.
So do you think that with the short week ahead for Thanksgiving and the holiday and everything like that, that this is a game that the Cowboys could be looking past Carolina
I do think so.
a little bit?
I do think so. Anything can happen any given Sunday, but to be real about it and look at these lines at Profit Exchange, it's kind of, it's a wild card. But again, I'm not someone that says no matter what, they're going to go in and it's going to be a lay down, because that's not always the case with Dallas. We're not San Fran. We're not Philadelphia. We're not a team that's only lost one game on the season.
Well, then that's the action that I want then with Carolina at Profit Exchange, because it's plus 102 instead of minus 110. So, you're getting the plus odds here, slight push over even money. And I think that, if Dallas is just going to, let their foot off the gas, or they're going to look past this team in any way, they are going to throw the ball. And that is the possibility. So I like that there. Carolina plus 10.5. Plus 102 at Profit Exchange.
And again, we're talking Profit Exchange, where you can go to for a no sweat first bet up to $100. You'd use promo code BSN, which, stands for Better Sports Network. Just throwing that out there. Next one, we mentioned it a moment ago, how important this game is for Detroit. We know that the Thumb and Justin Fields are going to be out there together. Chicago at Detroit. Spread is 9 right now. The number is... I see this in red. Brian, why did you put this in red? What is this?
That's in red because it's actually different from the consensus line. It's minus 110 in the real world, but it's minus 114 over a Profit Exchange. So the best way to get some value out of your bet on this game over a Profit Exchange is to do it with Chicago getting the points for the even money at plus 100.
I had a nice long call with our friend Adam Rodas today, who lives in New Jersey. So maybe I get him to throw one of these in for me at Profit Exchange. But your Jets at Buffalo. Now, Buffalo fans in my building are very distraught over their team. Then you got the Diggs on Diggs drama. Trayvon's home board. He decides to pop out a tweet. It gets loud. It gets really loud. And everybody starts going back and forth. Buffalo is not looking like the same team, but now they get the laydown and they get to face the Jets offense, but they're going to be struggling with that Jets defense. The spread right now is 7. It's plus 100 at, am I right? Profit Exchange?
Yeah.
Yep. Plus 100 at Profit Exchange. You have no faith in your Jets, so I'm afraid that you might just, no matter what, you think Buffalo is going to win this game.
It's not a question of whether or not they win it. Because the Jets beat the Bills in week 1. This defense knows Josh Allen. They know the weaponry that's over there. If I'm looking at this, because it's minus 110 on, in just, other books, but at Profit Exchange, Jets plus the touchdown is minus 103. I might lean in that direction. I might, but I'll say this. With everybody being down on Buffalo right now, and I mean really down, and the fact that the Jets haven't scored a touchdown since the Stone Age, I think that a lot of the money is going to probably come in on the Jets with the points. That I might just lean Buffalo minus 7 here at the plus money and just take it that way, because I know that the Jets are terrible, and as good as that defense is, they just can't withstand all these 3 and outs, and that's what's going to happen. You'll find that Buffalo, Joe Brady will come up with different ways to just give you sustained drives so that defense is just the Jets D's on the field for a while, getting worn down, and then Buffalo ends up just slapping them around.
Well, let's slap around some of these questions right here in the chat. How's that sound? We've got one from my friend Jeff, who is again happy that Better Boss got rid of that Bears commercial. Is Hunt a good start this week?
I don't like starting. It depends on who your other options are, Jeff. It's not a great start. It's not a terrible start either. You got to figure he and Jerome Ford are going to be sharing the workload. Yep. Pittsburgh has struggled a little bit against the run. I just, I think that, you're just dealing with, 2 teams that know each other very, very well. A super low game total here. I just don't know if I want to invest in Kareem Hunt as the pass catching back in this. I think it's more of a plodding game, but it depends on who his other options are.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. Looking at the game total is a great indicator that we're not looking away. We're not looking at a player to break out and get 2 or 3 touchdowns. And if you have a running back from another squad that's in a better situation, then you make that move. And I think everybody's going to lean on the run game this week for Cleveland just because of the quarterback situation. But that doesn't make me feel better about the quarterback using the running backs properly. I think it's a huge adjustment. I like to see how it all works out and see what other options I have. We've got something from Andrew. It is a DK tournament. Is the cheap quarterback Kyler, Lawrence, Purdy, or maybe Levis? So that would be what the choices are. DK tournament, cheap QB, Kyler, Lawrence, Purdy, or maybe Levis. And I'll tell you, though I did have to get up at 4 o'clock, I did have to watch football at 4 o'clock in the morning on Monday at the airport.
Huh.
Because that's what they do in Australia.
Welcome back to living on the West Coast here, where we have to get our asses up for a Germany game at 6:30.
They have to watch it at 4 a.m. on Monday when they're supposed to be getting ready for work, and their entire slate of games are on all day Monday because remember, Australia is an entire day ahead of us. 22 hours ahead.
Don't they know what happens in the games then? Can't they tell us?
I always wondered that when I went there. I believe me, I've said that I've said that stupidly to so many people and they never get it. They never get it. So who would you go with here? I think I was surprised. I think everybody was really surprised with the mobility of Kyler. You know, there's just been such a negative thing looming over Kyler. And what we realize now is maybe they were waiting for the appropriate time to get him back out there when he was really ready because he looks damn ready last week.
Yeah, he did. He looked good last week. Was very happy about, just watching him, feel good about running around. He was confident. Man, I tell you, it's like the quarterbacks. Burns, put that comment back up just so I can kind of go through it quarterback by quarterback, because I do think Murray is a great option here. I really do. And this game against Houston could really pop. And I was building a GPP stack right there off of this game in particular. And I was building it from CJ Stroud, Tank Dell, Nico Collins side of things, and then bringing back against that stack Trey McBride and even possibly James Conner. Then I was building on the other side there, Kyler Murray, with Marquise Brown and Trey McBride, and then have Singletary coming back. So I'm playing around with that, and I do think that could work. I also kind of have this feeling about Jacksonville because everybody hates them right now. Everybody hates Trevor Lawrence. Everybody hates Calvin Ridley. Tennessee Titans secondary is not good. And one of the problems that they are having is that they're dealing with a lot of injuries. And the injuries have forced them more into man coverage than into zone coverage instead of man coverage. They would go 50-50 there, but now all of a sudden you're seeing 60 to 65% of the time they're in zone coverage and they're softening up on man coverage because the personnel is not healthy. And you've got a guy like Lawrence who can carve up a zone. So I have a feeling it's probably better for a big GPP tournament, because I don't think a lot of people are going to be on that stack. But you also run the risk of them just zeroing out because they're just terrible. Purdy, I think, is probably the guy who's got the best floor and ceiling out of this with this matchup against Tampa Bay. Tampa's secondary, with the exception of Levis, and I'll rule out Will Levis in this one here against Jacksonville. But Purdy's an interesting one because I think Purdy can help shred that Tampa Bay secondary, which has been taking a beating, except for last week against Levis. You look at the 3 games prior to that, they were just getting torched. So with all of those weapons back, Purdy, Debo, Ayuk, Kittle, I think that could be where you're at. So to me, it's Purdy is the safe one. Kyler has a lot of upside, and then Lawrence is the dart throw.
And Jeff just got back to us with it's a bye week situation that is putting him in the position in the team that he's managing to play Kareem Hunt. It's not ideal. He's not dreaming for it. So It is a bye week situation. Let's get to 1 or 2 more. And also Jeff agrees with you. Purdy against Tampa might be really, really nice. We've got Grumpy Sports Fan. Hello, Grumpy Sports Fan. What a great name. McBride or Marquise Brown this week, it's full point PPR.
Ooh, well, I mean, there you go. Why not both? Huh? Like, why do we have to choose between them? I'm going to say McBride because it's full point PPR. I mean, the target share that he's got and that we saw him get this past week, it's not going away. I mean, this is like 3 straight weeks now that McBride has really, really turned it on. For this week, I would lean in that direction for sure.
Okay, let's take one more before we tap on a quick break. And this is a great one from my friend Kevin, who I just got to say hello to a couple weekends ago. Can Devontae Adams still be trusted moving forward? ? Tyler Lockett and Cortland Sutton are the other choices for the wide receiver 1 spot. So again, Devontae Adams moving forward, or Tyler Lockett, Cortland Sutton are the other choices.
I don't like the Raiders this week. Everybody loves what's going on with the Raiders, and they love Antonio Pierce. I kind of feel like Pierce being a player's coach, I think some guys are going to try and push the envelope, and maybe a case of the Miami flu sort of permeates through that Raiders locker room there. So I do worry about the Raiders this week. I feel like Tyler Lockett against the Rams might be the best way to go out of that trio. I do like, Denver in the night game against Minnesota, but I would probably go with Lockett, and I maybe trust Adams moving forward, but this week, no.
It's great the way the NFL was able to make this schedule happen, because you've got NASCAR in Vegas this week, and it's probably going to be complete chaos. They're actually doing that on the Strip. It was wild over this whole year to watch them have to reconstruct the whole Strip. So it's going to be cool to watch, but it's one of those things where, like, how bad can traffic be when you take away the main artery? It's got to be pretty bad.
Oh, I can't even imagine being like, well, I mean, when I go to see, that's the funny thing. Like when I go to Vegas, I hunker down in the hotel. I have no reason to go anywhere else. It's like the casino, the restaurants. Thank you very much. That's all I really want.
Because it takes forever to get nowhere there.
Yeah.
If you want to go visit somebody else at a hotel that's walking distance, half a mile, it could take you an hour. It's just one of those things. We're going to get to the rest of your questions when we get back from this break. We're going to talk a bit more. We're going to go through our Underdog Fantasy. Again, keep these questions coming. We love you in here in the chat. Share the feed with your friends. Get more people in here with us. You're listening to Lisa Ann and Howard Bender right here on Lisa Ann Does Fantasy Bettor on the Bettor Sports Network, as well as Fantasy Alarm.
What can we expect from you out there on the track tonight?
Listen, I have a wife, 2 kids. I have, full-time jobs. I'm never nervous. I don't even know what that word means. Can you explain what nervous means? No. I'm ready to have fun. I've never done anything like this before. I got asked to be a part of this. This is fascinating. Like, it's so cool to just look around and see what goes on here. So I'm just excited to get out on the horse. And you want trash talk? Is that what you're asking me for? No trash talk. I hope everyone does well.
All right. Everyone's going to do well, but it has to be a winner. So give me your trifecta. Who's going to come in first, second, and third? Heat.
I will go Maria 1, me 2, Willie 3, Moose goes 4th.
Well, it's very simple. I won this event last year. I won my heat, and so the defending champ has to be the favorite. Now, that makes me a little nervous just because I feel like it's hard to repeat. There's a little pressure when you're the favorite, but that being said, I'm still optimistic.
So your heat, it's you,
yes.
Moose and Keith from Bettor Sports Network, and Willie Colon.
I think Keith might be my stiffest competition, and I asked for this because I actually recruited Keith, if you didn't know. So Keith, if you win, you're welcome.
Malusis is very good. I mean, he knows what he's doing, but I'm going to go with Maria.
Keith is waving to the crowd. He must pay attention because they're off. It's Mark Malusis going for the lead. Maria Marino on the outside, and now Keith Irizarry on the outside with speed, and they're 3 wide into the first turn. Woo! Mark Malusis is locked in for his life. 138 and 2. They're into the stretch. Sportscasters Derby 2. And still in front, Keith Irizarry. And now Mark Malusis is trying to squeeze on through.
Come on! Back! Come on! Let's go! Come on, dig it! Yeah!
Keith Irizarry. Keith, you did it all the way, wire to wire. Over Mark Malusis.
Awesome! That was so cool!
The champ is here. Keith, what was it like being out there? Adrenaline rush. You were doing the Instagram live, so there was no panic. You looked cool, calm, collected the whole time, and you won it.
I felt really comfortable. I did. Like, I know you were joking with me before. Are you nervous? Are you whatever? What are you? David, the driver, was awesome. He's like, we're gonna win this. I said, all right, let's win this. And he said, let's go. Yeah, I just felt really comfortable. I did. It was fun. We're in the lead. I got Maria Marino on the right side of me, and I'm like, oh my gosh, she's gonna beat us, right? And then out of nowhere, you see Moose coming up this way, and we feel him breathing down our neck. And I'm like,
Moose
no!
on the loose. Watch out.
Moose was definitely on the loose, and we just got Moose by a neck, a nose, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, but again, all of this for a great cause, and it was absolutely awesome to do this. It was cool.
All right, Keith, congratulations. And no matter what, you could always hold this over Moose's head.
Yeah!
We are back right here. Lisa Ann and Howard Bender on Lisa Ann Does Fantasy Bettor, streaming live on YouTube at the Bettor Network as well as at Fantasy Alarm. You know, that song really made me want to go back to the 90s, get some glow sticks.
Ooh.
You know what I'm talking about? Glow sticks.
Yo.
That was fun. You break them. They had little tabs. You put them on your wrists. You wave them around. You trip it with them. Wendy just entered the room. Hello, our friend Wendy. Now here, before I get any further, Daniel, my friend Dooner. By the way, Dooner, FYI, I don't know if you listened to the newest episode of my podcast, which released today, but your mailbag question was answered.
Ooh.
Dooner had asked me if funds were unlimited, would I want to go to Mars or go to space or go around the moon? I don't know why. I have no intrigue by any of that. I feel like it's definitely environmentally not friendly. And if I had unlimited funds, there were many other things that I would do other than that. So you have to listen to the podcast, but he also corrected me. It is F1, not NASCAR. So I'm going in the penalty box right now. You're on your own, Howard, because I was wrong. It is F1, not NASCAR in Vegas. I should know this.
Either way, it's a road course that's shutting down all the major traffic there in Vegas. So, yeah, it's okay.
Very good. You
It's
are
okay.
right.
You're all right.
I'm all right. We got the watch list here. Now, this is an article that all of you would get. The focus right here, I mean, if you get the playbook and everything that Howard puts together, don't forget that All Pro helps you build winning lineups, including easy-to-use playbook created by Howard Bender himself each week. I don't know how you do this work each week. It's a cheat sheet. It's literally Howard's playbook shared with you so you can build better lineups. Go All Pro and win like a pro. Go to fantasyalarm.com/let's go. A bonus, 50% off your first month. Let's talk about where are people likely to invest this week. The first one you have is the Lions and Bears game. And you had Jared Goff, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and our trusted and true. There's certain players every season, Howard, that before the season starts, you really talk about. And then those players land on all of our teams that listen to the Fantasy Alarm. And then through the season, when those players do well, we think of you. And this one for me this season, there's a couple, but one of them is Sam Laporta.
Well, thank you very, very much. Yeah, we did our due diligence and we scouted everything out. Andrew Cooper really, brought Sam Laporta, up to me. I mean, listen, we know that Iowa, University of Iowa, just produces some amazing tight ends, right? George Kittle, Sam Laporta. I'm blanking on a couple of others, but they're a tight end factory.
Mm-hmm.
And so, he was talking about Laporta, and we were just, what we were looking at really was the situation in Detroit for him. The opportunity was there. They didn't have great tight end room, and they didn't have a strong wide receiver too, because Jameson Williams suspended for the first 6 games of the season he missed. And so that put Laporta in a spot where they could use him, they could feature him a little bit more, and he could see some targets because, the rest of the stuff they had, like Marvin Jones wasn't working out, and Josh Reynolds is Josh Reynolds. There's just a kind of a ceiling there. And so, yeah, we were in on Sam Laporta. I think a lot of people go to this game. Everybody loves Jared Goff at home. Numbers passing are so much better. You pass against the Bears. You don't run on the Bears. I mean, they'll use Montgomery and they'll use Jahmyr Gibbs, but this is a game where I think a lot of people just kind of flock to Goff, to Amon-Ra, to Sam Laporta. These guys, I don't necessarily know if I'm going to build like a Detroit Lions GPP stack. Maybe what I'll do is I'll use a couple of guys in my other lineup because I think this is going to be so chalky that, cash game plays, absolutely, but GPP tournaments, maybe not so much.
The next one you're looking at together is the Raiders-Dolphins game, and you're afraid of the Raiders having Miami flu. And for those of you out there who may or not be familiar, Raiders flu, the Miami flu usually comes from Live, which is a club that is in Fontainebleau that I put some serious woman hours into. There was a year that we went every Sunday. So my girlfriends and I, we would all be feature dancing at different clubs in the U.S. We would reroute our gig flights. So instead of flying home on Sunday morning, we'd fly to Miami. We'd sleep all day. We'd stay out at Live all night. And then we'd go right to the airport to get back to LA to go back to work. And we would just stay out all night. Bags are packed. They're already by the door. Okay, we're making it to the airport. I'll never forget one time. The key codes that they have at hotel rooms, they're battery operated. Like the batteries need to be changed. And if guys, you are completely locked out of your room, they've got to get a service person up there. They pretty much got to dismantle it to get in the door. And I remember us being up there in our little party dresses, giggling and carrying on and realizing that we were going to miss our flights.
Well, on the other side of that game are the Miami Dolphins, who live there year round, who know what's going on over there and like to take advantage of it. So, yeah, I think that, Devon Achane is coming back this week, or at least they think he's coming back. He's been, I don't think he's been activated to the active roster yet, but they activated him off of IR, which opens up that 21-day window.
Just saw he was trending, that he got in a practice today. So we are moving in the right direction.
Oh, yeah. Limited practice today, him and Raheem Mostert. And, everyone's kind of bummed that Raheem Mostert was limited in practice today because they're just coming off of a bye. But if you've got a guy who's got an injury history like that and every other veteran takes off on Wednesdays, you got to be encouraged by the fact that he at least put in a limited one.
Sure.
To kind of join around there. So I think Mostert and Achane are guys that I definitely want to lock into. Obviously, you could do Tua against the Raiders. Tyreek Hill is always in play.
How much production do you think we're going to get out of Tyreek Hill this week? I don't see the Raiders being able to slow him down. Is this going to be one of those weeks where if you have Tyreek, you're thrilled, but if you're going up against him, you're like, it's a nail biter for the whole afternoon of how many times he could potentially get into the end zone. And can he cap 150, maybe 200 yards against the Las Vegas Raiders?
Yeah, I think he can. I definitely think he can. And I just don't know if the Raiders have that personnel to really really work on shutting him down. We've seen teams, shut down Tyreek Hill with good, solid bracket coverage. I just don't know if the Raiders have the personnel to really kind of pull that off.
We got another one here, the Texans versus the Cardinals. I got to say, I drafted CJ Stroud as a backup in a couple of leagues. Of course, I've had a lot of shares of Nico Collins, and I went all in on Noah Brown 2 weeks ago. And when I was doing my hits on Friday, I do one in Houston. I had great vibes about Noah Brown, and he had such a great game. And I love getting those texts when, you're like, wow, how did you know? I'm like, well, it's sometimes it's just a vibe. And it was the situation that Nico was limited as well, but this is a much better squad than we expected down there in Houston at the beautiful NRG Stadium.
Yeah, listen, you have to love what CJ Stroud is doing and brings to the table. I said it before the season even started. I said it at the draft that I thought CJ Stroud was the best quarterback in that draft. I thought Carolina was crazy for taking Bryce Young. I really do. And so, watching Stroud do this, I thought was absolutely fantastic. I'll say this about Noah Brown. because I know everybody's going to be in on him a lot. But here's the thing. Nico Collins is back. Like Noah Brown popped 2 weeks ago because
That's it. That's all you're using him for. Yes.
There was no Robert Woods.
Yep.
You had Nico on one side, you had Tank Dell on the other side, and you had, Noah Brown in there. Now, it just so happened that CJ Stroud threw for 470 yards and 5 touchdowns in that game, and that was great, and that was wonderful. Then Noah Brown, he pops last week too. Didn't really have him on my radar because I actually thought that Nico Collins was going to play, but once Nico was ruled out for the game, and that was like on Saturday night, was when they ruled out Nico Collins. Then the question was, all right, well, now that Nico Collins is out, they're going to move Robert Woods to the outside. You're going to play, you're going to play Noah Brown out of the slot again. And that's why he popped. But now you come back to this week and you've got Nico on one side, you got Tank Dell on the other. Those guys get the most snaps and the most targets. And then working out of the slot, you still have Robert Woods. Noah Brown's the number 4 receiver in this system. Yeah, he'll see some snaps, but is he going to see more than a 25 to 30% snap share? And what's his target rate going to be like? So you have to worry. I think you have to worry a little bit about Noah Brown being like that guy. And I think everybody's going to flock to him again. But I see this one here. If I'm stacking Texans, Stroud with Collins and Tank Dell, that's the direction that I'm going in. Maybe I even try going with a little Devin Singletary because the Cardinals' run defense is that bad.
I can see it. The Cardinals' run defense is putrid. And even though, look, 2 weeks ago, even Tank Dell got his because there were that many yards put up by CJ Stroud. But it's been exciting. I've been to NRG Stadium quite a few times. The fans there are incredible. What they ended up going through with the situation with Deshaun Watson and not knowing where they were going to stand. I think this team is surprising them, and they're having so much fun watching CJ Stroud. We got another game here. Seahawks versus the Rams. Again, we're talking about the fantasy alarm top picks for DraftKings and FanDuel and where people are likely to invest when you're looking into the looking glass of Howard Bender. This game here, Seahawks versus Rams. And by the way, I will by chance get to all of your questions shortly.
Yeah. You know what? I'll just be quick about it with the Seahawks and the Rams. I mean, I think that, you're looking at a situation where the Seahawks really are making a push for winning the whole thing. The Rams, I don't know what the condition of Matthew Stafford's thumb is. Like it's a UCL sprain from this angle here. So it's like over here for those of you who are curious as to what it is. It's the ulna, it's the ligament that holds that together. And so does he have touch? Can he put zip on the ball? Like that's kind of my concern over there. As far as where that goes. And then when you look at the Seahawks on their side, listen, Geno Smith, who's definitely got a punchable face, but DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett going up against the secondary, Geno Smith has a punchable face. One of his teammates dropped him. And, and after, I think it was like a couple of weeks ago, I invested in Geno Smith in some cash game lineups as my QB and he ruined me. He ruined me.
So because he ruined you, his face has become even more punchable.
Even
By the
more
way,
punchable.
Now, you've seen double jointed fingers and thumbs before, right?
Yeah.
Have you ever seen this? Yeah. So as a kid, it was my big thing to like bend it all the way back. I've stopped doing that as I grown up.
Did you get it caught in a tractor or something?
No, my family believed when we got injured playing sports when we were young or things happened, like a turkey fell out of a freezer when I was young on my foot and it broke all of the bones from my big toe over. And my family just felt, they're Italians, like the Greek, just put Windex on it. They were like, oh, it'll heal. And I've never had feeling in my left foot from my big toe over. So I can't do anything with those toes. So yes. And then same thing, this was a basketball injury that my parents were like, you're young. It's going to heal itself. Well, guess what? I'm not young and it does the same thing it used to do. Okay.
As God is my witness, I thought turkeys could fly.
Right onto Lisa Ann's foot. Boom.
Right onto my foot, but let's talk about this. Let's get through some of these questions. We've got Mateo in the room, wants to know, needs 3. James Cook, Javonte, Pacheco, McLaurin, or Ridley. Again, James Cook, Javonte, Pacheco, McLaurin, or Ridley.
Needs 3 of these. Okay. I mean, I'm assuming it's PPR. I hope it's PPR. I'll say this. I'm going to say you definitely want to start Javante. You definitely want to start McLaurin. Ridley is a wild card. I like him, but he's more of a dart throw. I think you're going to end up probably wanting to go with James Cook. Jets run defense is not that great. We've seen, we saw Josh Jacobs run all over him. And I think that, with this switch from Joe, from Ken Dorsey to Joe Brady at offensive coordinator in Buffalo, I think what they want to do is they want to try and start minimalizing the mistakes that Josh Allen is making. And maybe they do run the football a little bit more.
Okay.
Like, I think that's kind of where I would go. I would go Cook, Javante, and McLaurin. Pacheco against the Eagles. That's a terrible matchup there, especially when you know that, Patrick Mahomes needs to get the ball to Travis Kelce.
By the way, did you know that the parents are meeting this weekend at the game? Taylor Swift's parents are going to meet Travis Kelce's parents for the first time.
I did not know that. Is Taylor going?
She is going to this one. This is right in between the entire tour. She's back. She's coming back really quick. She may be going. She may not. But you did see the stage kiss in Argentina.
Oh, dude, I'm 100% in for this.
I love all of this. And she had a girls' night out with, remember, I wanted her to become besties with Brittany. But I don't know if you know, little scoop here. Brittany the cardinal sin happened. Now, we don't know if this happened before this friendship started. But Patrick and Brittany posed for Skims, which is owned by Kim Kardashian.
Right.
And you all know that Kim and Kanye teamed up for the demise of Taylor Swift and saved messages and tried blackmailing her. And there is no forgiveness there. Remember, Kanye jumped up on stage when Taylor was winning her first award.
I remember that, yeah.
Tried stealing the award. Then the Kim drama started, and Kim tried to make Taylor. So the Swifties have been venomous on Britney's ads for Skims on her Instagram. Like venomous. Like this is the ultimate. I'm like, oh, this is so good. It's all so good.
Wow. I did not know that. There's like some serious drama, but I'm all in for the Travis Kelce Taylor.
I love
Swift
love.
thing. I love as well.
I love love.
So
love
you know what I did, Lisa Ann?
Tell me.
I went to an AI, baby generator, and I put in pictures of Taylor and Travis Kelce. And here you go. I'm going to share this photo with you right now. This is what was spit out as Travis and Taylor Swift's baby. Where is it here? There it is.
Oh,
there it is. Yeah, the little bow tie right there. That's like a total Taylor Swift like outfit for being on stage. You got these like
AI poorly lit that shot, like way too much filter for a child. Didn't the lighting, like you got backlit there. This is AI do better. I mean,
it's actually not AI. This is another picture of Brian Burns.
He looks glorious.
Did you do an AI baby picture? I think their babies would be tall and beautiful. I love all of it.
I did not, but just any chance I have to shout out to Lori, Brian Burns' mom, and tell her how much of a treasure she is for this series of photos that she sent
emailed
me.
them to you? Did she?
Oh yeah, we've been emailing back and forth about this. I've got a whole collection of it.
Oh, this is so beautiful. Okay, we got another one here from Derek. Derek wants to know Dell or Hollywood rest of season. It's a 0.5 point PPR.
Ooh, Dell or Hollywood rest of season. Like, why do we have to choose one or the other? Like, really, you don't have room for both of them?
Would you like a follow-up question? Do you want to ask Derek a follow-up question? Because Derek is in the chat.
Yeah,
and he can
Derek.
Answer.
You know what? Lay out your wide receivers for me and tell me how many you start. Do you start 3 in a flex? I need to know this information because, I mean, I think both guys are worthwhile. I would say if you had to, I would probably go with Hollywood because I know that he's going to be the number 1 target in this offense for Kyler Murray. Tank Dell's doing great things, but there are a lot of mouths to feed, and CJ Stroud is feeding all of them.
So we will wait. We will put a pin in that because Derek is going to get back to us with the lineup. And in the meantime, we're going to answer Sneaker 901. And Sneaker 901 sent a duplicate message, but they're exactly the same. So I'm sure didn't know if the message went through, right? And then put another one. But it reminds me of the people that send you a message in all caps. So this is important. Sneaker 901, thanks for being here with us. Should I trade Amari Cooper for Josh Dobbs and Sutton? I had DW4. Is that Deshaun Watson?
Look at you.
How did
Learning
that
the
code,
shorthand.
How did that
Come
code
on.
come up?
Give you some knuckles on that one, lady.
How did that code come up? Like, where did DW4 come from? Tell me so I know the origin.
His initials are DW and he wears number 4.
That is brilliant. I love how you guys have really done this. You could really be doing SOS signals, giving out lineup advice in short form. I'm learning so much. So he needs a QB. He needs a QB. So
I would do this trade in a heartbeat. Yes.
Boom,
a
boom.
million times yes.
One heartbeat. Boom, boom. Just one heartbeat. So boom, boom. Sneaker 901. If somebody wants to take Amari Cooper off your hands right now with this situation, go for it. And let's see. By the way, my mouse is like, it's fine mousing things, but it's not going up and down. Obviously, it needs a charge of some sort. I think that's what it is. It's wireless. We have another one here for a DK question. I saw it. I passed it. I find it again. Okay. Noah Brown was the obvious play at 3,700 on DK and dominated against zone coverage. Doesn't matter what team. He's too big, too fast to play zone against. Do you agree with this?
No, I don't necessarily agree. I mean, he was an obvious play because Nico Collins was out.
Yeah.
And the way that this game was set up, against a secondary like Tennessee. The funny thing about it was that because, right, it was Tennessee last week for
yeah,
it was. No. Tennessee played Tampa Bay. Who the hell did
Houston, Cincinnati.
Oh, Cincinnati.
Week 10 was Cincy, yep.
So all right. So again, that's another situation. Yes, Cincinnati plays a lot of zone. Cincinnati also, I don't think a lot of people are really factoring in the fact that they lost Von Bell and whoever their other safety was. It was Von Bell and why am I blanking on this dude's name?
I'm gonna pull
Jesse
it up.
Bates. Jesse Bates. So
geez.
Jesse Bates and Von Bell, and they just haven't been able to fix not having those safeties. And the fact that they do play a lot of zone coverage is a definite issue. But again, my concern with Noah Brown, because, going in, up this week here against Arizona, who mixes in man coverage and zone coverage, right? I think it's like 50 to 60% that they sit in zone. But is he going to see the snaps with a healthy Collins, a healthy Woods, and a healthy Tank Dell? I worry about that.
I worry about that as well. He was a great Band-Aid. Don't chase points. I look at that same situation. Why would you, Nico's been having such a great season. It doesn't make that much sense. We do not have the answer yet on the why, when, and how for that question we had earlier. Oh no, I just blew the screen up massively large and I can't even see you anymore, Howard. What have I done? What have I done to us here? Okay, I will figure that out while we're on break. That's going to be the best cause of action here. My mouse is really loving me tonight. I appreciate all of this chaos. I will work this out. We'll tap on a quick break. When we get back, we'll be going through our Underdog Fantasy higher or lower segment. We're going to be relying on all of you to give us your answers. So I'm going to put some out there right now so we have some responses when we get back. These are going to be Howard Bender's list. We have Mark Andrews, 52.5 receiving yards. The next one is Mark Andrews, 0.5 rushing and receiving touchdown. CeeDee Lamb, 87.5 receiving yards. Rashad White, 44.5 rushing yards. And Derrick Henry, 64.5 rushing yards. You all can put it in the chat, higher or lower. We're going to continue to answer your questions. I'm going to straighten out my screen situation. We will be back from a quick break. Lisa Ann and Howard Bender right here with you on Lisa Ann Does Fantasy Bettor, streaming live on the Bettor Network as well as Fantasy Alarm.
From the Hometown Hero series, Zach Parise.
That is a very nice card, and that's one I'm probably have to organize a little trade ski with you, because I would actually like that card.
mean, you got downtown Newark in the background. I mean, Newark has never looked so good.
No, it is not.
We'll put that back up on the screen. I just want to have a penny sleeve ready, and yes, we can absolutely work out a little trade ski for that, because that belongs in a Devil Fans collection right there.
I'll trade you the Braden Schneider rookie card for it.
Done.
There we go. The first card-for-card trade on Rip and Riff history. And it was that easy.
It was that easy. That's because, you know why? Because neither one of us are jerks. And it's the same thing when we try and do fantasy trades. Like, we don't try and screw each other. We have conversations. If there's a fit, there's a fit. If it's not, it's not. We don't try and, like, take the other one over the barrel. So there you go, in a penny sleeve. Hometown hero, Zach Parise. He was among the league's most productive goal scorers in 06-07 and followed up with a terrific regular season with an even more impressive postseason. And then they talk about what he did in the first round series against Tampa Bay that year. So that's off to the side for you.
That's true. And, if this is it for his career, he had a hell of a career.
He did.
Hopefully he comes back one more year with the Islanders, but if he doesn't, hell of a run.
Okay. All right. Okay. Now, when you close out of the app right here, I lose the chat. So that was my bad. I'm super sorry. I will charge the balance. These things do happen. Yours is Lisa Ann and Howard Bender right here on Lisa Ann Does Fantasy Bettor, streaming live on YouTube at the Bettor Network, as well as at Fantasy Alarm. We do have a question there, which I will get to, but I'm going to ask these again because right now we are talking all things Underdog. Play my picks with promo code BETTOR and get up to $100 as a sign-up bonus. And I want to remind you all, it's better, B-E-T-T-O-R, not E-R, O-R, because it's better. Play my picks and join the fun. Claim your bonus. Who doesn't like sign-up bonuses? Play with my house money for up to $100. If season longs is stale, DFS isn't for you, try Pick'em and make it as easy as higher or lower. Links, so you're going to go to fantasyalarm.com/underdog fantasy, and you're going to use the code BETTOR, B-E-T-T-O-R. Again, fantasyalarm.com/underdog fantasy with the promo code BETTOR. So we've got Mark Andrews, 52.5 receiving yards. We're asking for you all, is this a higher or a lower?
For me, it's a higher. What I like more is him with a touchdown, but Cincinnati is very, very soft against the tight end. They funnel everything. They've got decent cover corners. Woozy is there, and they do a good job, and it kind of funnels things into the middle, which is, again, it's why they've struggled against slot receivers. It's why they've struggled against the tight end, because the middle of the field, their linebackers don't fall back well into coverage. They're not good coverage guys. And then you've got the safeties doing their thing. So, Mark Andrews, to me, just going up against the Cincinnati Bengals here, higher than 52.5 receiving yards. Mm-hmm. Yes.
And Byron agrees with you, higher on Andrews. Mama says he'll have that the first quarter. Better Boss says Mandrews. The M-A-N is capitalized. And okay, so now we're going to the next one. We've got another Mark Andrews here. It is 0.5 rushing and receiving touchdown. Higher or lower?
That's the one that I like the most, because it's also got like a 1.5x on this one here. And so, yeah, Andrews to get into the end zone against the Bengals. If Baltimore wants to win this game, it needs to be Lamar to the Mandrews. Give it to me. I am 100% in for it.
Before I go to the next one, how do you feel about this Thursday night game? Because I'll tell you, we always seem to get into this spot where some of our standalone games are not the games we're looking forward to the most. I like this game tomorrow night, and I'm looking forward to it.
I like this game tomorrow night too. I mean, this is a very, very important battle for the NFC North, like a really, really important battle. And when you see Cleveland struggling at 6-3, that's just, to me, that's just opening up the door even wider now for Joe Burrow and the Bengals to really make the move that we expect them to make. I'd be very curious to see. So Marlon Humphrey did not practice, and I'm very curious to see as to whether or not Marlon Humphrey plays in this game. If Marlon Humphrey is out, give me Chase and Boyd to the moon here and that on that side. And like I said, give me Mark Andrews and Lamar Jackson on the other.
We've got one of my Dallas Cowboys, CeeDee Lamb, 87.5 receiving yards. Now, this is a higher or lower. We want to hear it all from you. I am so surprised you chose a Dallas Cowboys player here. Hopefully, Jim is not listening, that you've got some good vibrations, but CeeDee Lamb getting it done, higher or lower out there. What do you say on this 87.5 receiving yards, Howard Bender?
Yesterday it was at 84.5, and today it's at 87.5, which means that everybody's hammering the higher. And listen, with what we've seen from CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott over the last couple of weeks, it's this kind of momentum that Mike McCarthy wants to ride. So he's going to let, even though JC Horn is expected to be back and play, and maybe he even tries to shadow CeeDee Lamb, they move him around the field so much and so often that it's going to be very, very difficult. There's a reason that CeeDee Lamb was my choice for the cover of the Fantasy Alarm Draft Guide this year. That was my guy. I said,
because he's electric. I agree. And I'll tell you what, he's in midseason form right now and really connecting well. You can see the confidence is built. He's got speed. And he connects well with Dak. So I'm with you right here, and not just as a Dallas Cowboys fan. I am with you with higher because of the lack of defense right there, and CeeDee's going to take advantage. You've got Rachaad White, 44. And again, everybody, this is right here on Underdog Fantasy. You can go to fantasyalarm.com/Underdog Fantasy and use the promo code BETTER. Rachaad White, 44.5 rushing yards. Are you going with the higher or lower on this one, Howard?
I'm actually going to go lower here. A big tough matchup here on the road in San Francisco. San Francisco's front seven is fierce. And so I worry about him with the rushing yards. Rachaad White makes his money catching passes. Like that's where you utilize White. And I think that we'll see some more dump offs to him. I just don't see a whole lot of rushing opportunity for Rachaad White. I think he, like I said, I think he'll catch some passes and earn his value there. So give me the lower 44.5.
Okay, we're going to go with one more right here, and that is Derrick Henry. These are Howard's picks, by the way. Derrick Henry, 64.5 rushing yards. You all there in the room, are you going higher or lower? Tennessee is facing Jacksonville this week. Again, 64.5 rushing yards right here on Underdog Fantasy. Higher or lower?
Anybody giving any answers in the chat? I'm just kind of curious.
I see lower on White, and I see lower from Scott, but okay, now we're getting to these because it's a second. So higher on the King. Higher on Henry Mamba. We're already to the 3 past CD. CD was yesterday's news. We went to 2 others, and we're not looking for 100 yards. We just need him to go 88 yards, and he would go over the 87.5. That would be a CD conversation from 2 picks ago. Derrick Henry, 64.5 rushing yards. We see a little bit of both. We got Scott saying higher on Henry, Byron saying higher on Henry, Better Boss saying higher on the King. Everyone's got the higher, but I think your vibe is definitely different here, Howard.
It is, and I'm going to say lower here for Derrick Henry. It's kind of a tough matchup. The Jacksonville Jaguars, they're giving up 86 rushing yards per game. They've given up 6 rushing touchdowns, which not huge amount there, but it's not nothing. I look at this situation here and I see Tajay Spears playing more snaps. I see Tajay Spears touches, they're not, it's still a Derrick Henry backfield, but I think this is a very tough matchup here. When you play against the Jacksonville Jaguars, you have success against them through the air, not on the ground. And I think Will Levis also wants to sling the rock. Yeah, they'll run Henry early to try and open up some play action and hope that Levis, can do that. But I also think that, this matchup here against the Jags, if we see a lot of zone coverage from Tennessee, then I could see all of a sudden the Jags kind of waking up, surprising everybody, and then the defense gets all charged up on that. And maybe they do a little better job on Derrick Henry. They play him twice a year all the time. So, this is the first meeting there. But, I mean, Jags have seen Derrick Henry for a couple of seasons now.
I shared my picks, but I'm going to give them to you. I thought they'd land here in the doc, and I didn't add them because we usually do a graphic. But regardless, I already tweeted them. So here's my list. Jordan Love, for those of us who love love. Higher or lower, 226.5 passing yards. Higher or lower for Jordan Love right there. And we are looking at Green Bay at home, taking on the Los Angeles Chargers.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bad Chargers defense. It really is. But I kind of feel like we're going to see a lot of Aaron Jones. I feel like we could see some AJ Dillon.
I agree.
I might go lower here.
I am all about the lower on this one. That's where I went. I don't have the upside for Jordan Love. I don't think we're going to be pushing him to do more than he has to do. And, if Bosa's in there, you don't think he could put some fits on Mr. Jordan Love, getting some potential for those extra yards that he may need to go over. 226.5. Lower. Okay, next one.
Lower.
Terry McLaurin, 58.5 receiving yards. We talked a little bit about what we thought of those Commanders this weekend. For this one, for me, Commanders taking on the Giants. I feel like everybody at this point looks at the Giants as, hey, we're all going to get touchdowns this week. And that's why I am going higher for one. What happened to Xavier McKinney? What happened to the Giants defense? What is going on?
I mean, again, if your team is giving you nothing but 3 and outs and the offense isn't scoring or doing anything, then the defense is on the field too much and they're getting tired.
Yeah.
It's just, it's really, I mean, this team is completely falling apart. Daniel Jones on IR, Darren Waller on IR. Hell, they lost their kicker, Graham Gano. He ended up on IR as well. So, I mean, you've got Saquon Barkley trying to do it all himself, and that's just not going to happen. So, yeah, I think, and that's just kind of spread to the defense, or the defense is pretty weak as well. I think Terry McLaurin could do this on like 3 catches, I'm sure.
I agree with you on that one. So I went with the higher right there. So we've got higher 58.5. Again, we're doing this on Underdog Fantasy. You can go to fantasyalarm.com/Underdog Fantasy and use the promo code BETTER. Next, I have to throw a cowboy in here. So I went with Tony Pollard.
Come on. Didn't I give you CeeDee Lamb? Come on.
Yeah, but I like to look at the photos in the awesome Dallas Cowboys uniforms. Tony Pollard right here. I'm not worried about the run defense in Carolina. 61.5 rushing yards. I went right there for the over. Higher, I mean. Higher.
Yeah, I guess. I think out of principle, I'm going to go lower.
You want to be spiteful?
He's not been utilized. A lot of what I'm hearing is that Rico Dowdle's touches are increasing because they've steadily realized that Tony Pollard is not a bell cow back.
Didn't we know that before we let go of Ezekiel Elliott? I knew that he was electric when he had a bell cow back there working with him. He's not the same without him.
Yeah, he's not. And so I think that Dowdle maybe I think they're going to stay with the passing game and they're going to beat Carolina through the air. And then they're going to let, Dowdle get the majority of that second half work. So, yeah, I'm going to say lower here on 61.5 rushing yards for Tony Pollard.
Well, I went higher. I like you, Scott, a lot. We're great friends, but Jeff is like my bestie because he says over in garbage time. So he is making it happen, manifesting.
You couldn't get more garbage time than last week against the Giants. And what was Tony Pollard's line there?
I don't know. I was in the air with no internet.
I don't even remember. Because I used Tony Pollard last week, strictly in cash games because the ownership was so high that I was like, all right, screw it. I'll just take the free square. You weren't really paying a ton of money for him. But here you go. I mean, in a complete blowout, a 49-17 blowout, Tony Pollard picked up 55 rushing yards, and he had 0 catches for 0 receiving yards. That's what Tony Pollard gave you.
I know. But I have faith that he'll bounce back this week.
But he hasn't done it. See, here you go. Because I love you so much, Lisa Ann, but I'm here to help. I'm here to like take some of that Cowboys homerism out of you. And if you go back and you look at the game log here for
Look, I have manifestation cards, okay? This is how much I believe in manifestation.
Get your secret out of here.
Okay? Right here, I'm manifesting this by having it on the manifesting cards. And thank you, Jeff, for being glass half full optimistic with me. Look,
Tony Pollard against the Rams, where they won 43-20. You remember that game? Of course you do.
Of course.
Tony Pollard had 52 rushing yards in that game. That was it.
All right. Let me go to my next one. I got James Conner. I don't why when I want to say Conner, like James Conner, like you feel like the Jersey accent. James Conner. Are we going higher or lower on the 56.5 rushing yards?
I'll go higher on that for James Conner because Houston gives up enough rushing yards. They just don't have a great run defense. They never have. So, I mean, you're talking about a team that's giving up like 95 rushing yards per game, which isn't huge. 11 rushing touchdowns. So like you don't need Conner to go and rush for 100 yards and a touchdown. You need him to go 57 yards and a touchdown against a team that's giving up 100 yards per game. Conner.
We're going with Conner. Everybody agrees on the over. And I got to say, Byron, my buddy, Byron says, Lisa, and I could just hear this in Byron's voice. Lisa, I felt the same way about Kenny Pickett, but have to let him go.
Oh, yeah.
He's just trying to be a friend right now. Like, get off. All right. So Trevor Lawrence. Okay. This is going to be an interesting one because we do know that the run defense for Tennessee is good, but will this create panic of scramble? The only thing I need you to do, Trevor Lawrence, with you and your great hair is rush for more than 16.5 yards. Are you going higher or lower? I'm going higher because I just feel like if by chance there's an opportunity, it could happen. I need him to do 4 yards this play, 6 yards this play. How about give me like 6 yards a quarter and you're over 16.5 rushing yards. Trevor, you can do this for me. Higher.
I hope so. I told you, I'm gonna, because everybody's so down on the Jags. I'm gonna throw a GPP lineup out there, but I'm gonna stack Trevor Lawrence with Ridley and Kirk, or maybe Kirk and Engram. But that's I'm doing that this week. So I will defer to you on the higher here for 16.5 rushing yards. He's done it a few times this season, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games. 5 out of 9 games he's done it. So
he has. Now let me say something about this hair thing we're going through in the NFL. We've got a lot of NFL players with great hair. And I don't know if you know this, but the mullet is back. Do you know this, Howard?
I've heard rumors. I refuse to
I have seen some of, first of all, we all know, anybody that's a fan of Pat McAfee, Boston Connor has the absolute best mullet in the entire globe right now. But while in Australia, they must have been on to this trend starting before us. They've been really working on it for longer. And I saw some of the absolute best mullets of my life. And each person, so there's 4 different guys with incredible mullets. And because I compliment their mullet so much, they asked me to sign. One guy, I signed his chest, one his back, and 2 their calves. And they went and got my signature tattooed on their body for complimenting their mullet.
Wow. Look at you.
Whenever someone does this, you know what I tell them? Please do not commit a crime and be on America's Most Wanted. because usually they do use tattoos as identifying pieces. So you know the suspect if he changes his hair color or puts on the funny. Burns wants to know, how often does this happen? It happens a lot. I think the most detailed was a guy from Cleveland, Ohio. I still have the Polaroid. That's how long it was. But he did a colored tattoo of a box cover of me, his entire chest. And it was one of my very first box covers, Dirty Western 2. When he took off his shirt at the club, the manager was freaked out. He's like, do you want us to escort this guy out? And I'm like, why would you ask the guy to leave that just spent like 80 hours getting me completely tattooed in multicolor? Like, let's get in the mind of this gentleman. You know what I mean? But the first thing I said to him was, please do not commit any crimes and have that on the news, because it would be a bad look for me. You did not know this was a thing?
I had no idea this was a thing. So
You
now
just
I want
blew my mind.
I'm doing a search because I want to see the box cover of the tattoo. I want to see the tattoo that he's got of you.
When you look at that box cover, there's a great backstory behind it. This was before, of course, we were shooting anything on digital. We were shooting everything on film, and they had these art departments. And back then they were very heavy handed. And it was my second movie ever. I'm 21 years old. I'm living in Huntington Beach. The studios are in the Valley. It's about an hour drive with no traffic. And my AVN magazine came in the mail, and I opened it, and I was so mad over how much they retouched my face that I drove directly to the Valley to storm into the art department room and scold the gentleman and asked him a million times why he didn't like my face. That looks nothing like me.
It does not look like your face. It does not.
I was mortified. I got Final Cut after that, because what I told them was, yo, I'm doing personal appearances and I've got to show up looking like the person that they have the poster up for a month. I'm going to walk in there and be like, hey, is Lisa Ann with you? You know what I mean? Like, I don't look like that. Like, don't do that to me. So I made a big stink about it, and it was pretty epic. I was feisty as a young person.
Do you have a holster with some pistols?
Okay, even funnier story, which you're going to love this one. So you see the outfit that I'm wearing on that box cover, okay? So my very first AVN, the owners of my company tell me, hey, we want you to wear the outfit to sign at the booth on the first day that you're wearing in Dirty Western, because we have these life-size cutouts and posters everywhere. And I'm like, okay, like, I just thought this is what people did in the industry. I show up looking like a carny person. You've got Janine, Julia, Ann, Raquel, Darian, the most beautiful women in the world that are dressed to the nines. They look amazing. And I walk in with some plastic guns in a holster with chaps and I was so mad at them. Like, I never trusted them again. I never would let them pick an outfit. I was like, you are all giving me money. I'm going shopping in Vegas. I'm buying all new outfits. And I was that girl. It was very embarrassing. They looked at me like, look at this girl. She's new. She listened to their advice. She's wearing the outfit from the box cover. It was so lame. And I just stand looking like, who's the person standing next to the person that I don't even look like? I don't look like that person, but I'm in the same outfit. Why'd you steal her outfit? You don't look like that. It was very scarring, but these are like little photos, jog a memory. And I go down the rabbit hole of just like funny story after funny story, because it never ends. And you look back on it and it's fun. I want to remind everybody that you can play Pick'em on Underdog Fantasy by choosing higher or lower or 2 or 5 of your favorite player stats. Play NFL, NBA, MLB, NHL, and CFB and more. Make 2 correct picks, and win 3 times your entry fee. 3 correct picks, 6 times. 4 correct picks, 10 times. 5 correct picks, 20 times. All you need to do is sign up at fantasyalarm.com/underdog with the promo code BETTER. First-time depositors get a 100% match up to $100. You all have about 2 minutes to give us your last-minute questions that we can help you with here in the chat. We will be wrapping this up. And Howard, I want to ask you, out of this entire slate for this weekend, what game are you looking forward to the most? Because I absolutely know it is not the Jets.
It's so not the Jets.
And I'm
game.
sorry. I'm not trying to be that girl, you know?
No. I totally get that. I mean, the game of this week that I'm probably most excited about to watch is probably the Houston Arizona game. Like, CJ Stroud, he's at home. Kyler Murray, the dynamic of what Kyler Murray brings to the table here for Arizona. And he's got weapons, right? He's got Marquise Brown. He's got Michael Wilson. He's got Trey McBride. I do think that these teams could go back and forth pretty nicely. So I think that's probably going to be the game that I'm most interested in watching. Just from a regular standpoint, but also, I mean, again, I'm gonna be catfished by the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm gonna get catfished by the Jaguars here into watching that one as well and paying more attention to it.
First of all, I would like to say Byron just put something great in the chat, and this is what it's like to be in a fantasy community that is friendly and caring. Yes, you can propose that trade to me, Byron, because I don't have a backup quarterback in this situation and there's no one on the waiver wire. So since Watson is out for the season, I'll trade you Kyler Murray for Gus Edwards. Let's do that. Send that trade over. We got a question right here. And also, Jeff and I are on the same page. It's Monday night, baby. It's Philadelphia, Kansas City. And it is not just because I want to watch the unity of the Swiftie family meeting the Kelsey family. I love it when Kelsey mom has half Chiefs jersey and half Eagles jersey. I just, all of it is just the cutest. And that's also the perfect standalone game, a game that you don't want to be bouncing back on other channels.
I hear that there's like a little bit of grief being given because like Taylor Swift's dad had like some sort of like Chiefs stuff. Like I don't remember what it was, but he had something Kansas City Chiefs, and that Travis obviously gave to him, and he was seen on camera with that, and now like all the Eagles fans are giving him like a whole bunch of shit. All the Eagles Swifties are giving him like a bunch of shit.
They just don't know what they're getting into in this sports world. We got a question here: DJ Moore and Eckler for Jamar Chase and Kyren Williams. DJ Moore and Eckler in a trade for Jamar Chase and Kyren Williams. I want to know, Adam, who has what end of that deal, right? Wouldn't you want to know that? Like, do you want to know if he's the DJ Moore manager or the Jamar Chase manager? Who benefits more in this deal?
No, I mean, I think that, you're taking a risk with Kyren Williams because he's not expected back this week. He's going to be back, they say, in week 12. So I kind of worry about that situation for him. So I think overall, I think the DJ Moore Eckler might be a little bit more beneficial if you need the running back now. If you have plenty of running back depth and it doesn't matter that Kyren Williams isn't playing this week, and maybe Kyren Williams is like your third best running back, then yes, then definitely take that deal and get Jamar Chase.
Can we get this quick one in here right now? The wide receiver question from Grumpy Fan was Olave, Addison, Jay Downs, D. Douglas. My running backs are Eckler, Gibbs, Montgomery, Warren, Keaton, Mitchell, Foreman. Who should I trade for Jamar Chase?
I would try and trade away, offer up like, Josh Downs and Montgomery, or Josh Downs and Jalen Warren. I mean, you're so tough. I mean, they're going to want Addison or Olave, and then they're going to want like Eckler. Maybe if you were to throw, I don't think you can afford Chase. I don't think you can afford Chase with this group, because you're going to have to give up either Eckler or both Gibbs and Montgomery together with a wide receiver here. That's what's going to get Jamar Chase, but I don't think that's a helpful deal.
Well, Howard, let me tell you something. We're getting ready to come up on this Turkey Day season, always the tradition of a Dallas Cowboys game, which has been something that I just grew up with, and it's always been something I look forward to. I hope you have an amazing Thanksgiving. I hope everybody sets themselves up with that DFS playbook and goes over to Fantasy Alarm and signs up. FantasyAlarm.com/let's go. Brian Burns, you crushed it tonight. You were actually a very cute child. Glad that the mom is in touch with Howard. Everybody in the chat, we appreciate you so much being here. Share this with your friends. Byron, thank you for sending the trade offer. I'll get to it either late night tonight. I have a couple more hours of work to do, either late night tonight or first thing in the morning. Everybody that joined us, we appreciate you so much. We love you being here with us. Have a great see, and there we go. See,
And there we go.
and there we know that's time, right? We know that's time, right? But it's not because he said 2 minutes and 1 minute. I don't know what just happened there, but we are ahead of the game as we usually are. Check out Underdog Fantasy. And make sure you check out everything at Profit Exchange for New Jersey residents. Thank you. Signing off right here, Lisa Ann and Howard Bender. I will be manifesting that Tony Pollard situation and many points for my Dallas Cowboys. Brian Burns, thank you so much, everybody. Wrapping it up right here, Lisa Ann Does Fantasy Bettor, streaming live on the Bettor Network as well as Fantasy Alarm.
As God is my witness, I thought